Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Please, would someone, anyone, please volunteer to change the Democratic Party diapers? Now they're charging that Facebook tilted the election in favor of Trump. As my grandmother used to say, ay, 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 ay. Here comes the great song of God Bless America with Kate Smith. Good morning, everybody. And we need a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, morning, morning. And a good morning to you, Zeb at the Ranch, and appreciate you being with us on a Monday. Brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you. Big Founders Day celebration going on. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, don't go with that stuff with your reindeer with me right now. I'm not happy about this.
I'm not.
Oh, go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, thank you. And talk to me a little bit later. I'll look forward to hearing from you. And right now, let's go to the weather. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. Number to call Roger and the crew, 678-3122. Roger says spring is coming. Oh, really? I hope so. And get ready for your outdoor cleanup work. All the lawn and garden equipment is right there that you need at K&R Rental. Get a head start, and boy, you do today, you're going to get a head start. You call them for any and all equipment and tools that you need for any project. K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. And right now, here's the weather forecast.
Welcome to Winter 2.0 as we are expecting some more snow showers in the forecast for today. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. We're looking at patchy blowing snow at least up until about noon. Cloudy skies and wind is going to be a factor out of the west-southwest, right around 15 miles an hour, gusts possible as high as 25 miles an hour. Total daytime accumulations for today is right around an inch. We are looking at a high of 35. Tonight looks like 20% chance of snow showers after midnight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 13. Tomorrow we will see some sunshine, high of 30, mostly cloudy for tomorrow night, low of 10 by Wednesday, mostly sunny skies with a high of 34. Wednesday night, looks like we do have a slight chance of precipitation in the form of snow. Mostly cloudy skies, low of 24, and then Thursday, 50% chance of snow showers with a high of 38. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Hey, thank you. Brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And I said it's right there on the Burley-Paul Highway, 678-3122. They open the doors at 7 in the morning to serve you at K&R Rental. Hey, Wheels, let me ask you, getting a little hum on the line, is that something you hear, or do we have a bad line, or what?
No, you sound great
okay.
At the moment, sir. If I hear anything, I will let you know.
I appreciate that. We've had some some, with the weather sometimes it causes problems. So we just thought we'd ask. All right. Hey, don't forget, to our friends at Daryl's Cleaners. Oh, my goodness. They're located at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. May I say that again without biting my tongue? 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And, if you're a school teacher in Minidoka and Cassia County, go in there, show them your teacher's card, and you can get up to a 20% discount on your clothes cleaning. You better stop in today. They are the best at what they do. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And also, don't forget to clean those winter items before you stow them away. And right now, looking outside, don't do any stowing. It's still snowing, okay? Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Also, quickly, want to remind everybody about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, my goodness sakes. Always a treat to talk to Rita on Thursdays. And they're there every day, Monday through Friday, from 7:30 to 5 at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459, for all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. That's not brag, that's a fact. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and the best of people serving you. So get in there today, 2600 Overland in Burley, or give them a call, 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric. I talked to a couple of the people in charge, including Debbie Critchfield. Yes, all the schools are in session this morning. Now, with the snow, the buses, they're very, very safety-oriented. They might go a little bit slower this morning to pick up the kids, but everything is in effect. All the doors are open, and school is in session. Until I hear anything else differently, school is in session all over today. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Yesterday, I did not see this in live TV, but I heard about it, and then I watched it this morning. Tiger Woods was playing in the Honda Classic yesterday, and one of his drives hit a goose. I know a lot of you are going, well, that's not funny that he hit a goose. Well, he didn't care for it either. It slowed down the direction and the length of his drive. But he hit a goose, and the goose got up, walked a little bit, tried to walk it off, and then finally flew it off. But little interesting side note, Tiger Woods has had one dickens of a time trying to make a major comeback, and then on one of his drives yesterday, hit a goose. I don't know why that strikes me funny. Oh, laugh, for heaven's sakes. The goose is fine. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. We absolutely love our lunch bunches over there. We have a great gathering. Everybody is treated like kings and queens, and absolutely want to say thank you to them. Nice people. And you can stop in and see them at 611 North Overland in Burley, and also the other location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls, Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. What a great menu. Super nice people serving you. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. You stop in and see them today. Another news note here. Yesterday, the biggest one-day rodeo in the world, bar none. Some try to lay claim to that, but it's a lie, and it's fraudulent. This is the biggest one-day, richest rodeo in the world, the American, in Cowboy Stadium down in Texas. It was absolutely amazing. 5 hours, literally, of qualification for the final round, and some walked out of there with checks in their hand, well over $500,000. Now, that's not too bad for a bunch of cowboys and cowgirls. Very well run, RFD TV and Dish Network, and it was so well produced. But the reason I'm bringing it up here this morning, if anyone had the opportunity to watch that opening yesterday, it would have sent chills right up your backbone and brought tears to your eyes. It was the best production opening I have seen in a long, long time. It was basically the theme, Stand Up for America. Stand up for our flag. And as I said, I'm not ashamed to say it brought tears to my eyes, and it should be sent. A tape copy of that should be sent to every NFL and NBA team in this country. It was so well done and so absolutely America. God bless them. That was really, really a great job. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you, too, about our friends over at Pomerelle Place. And Holly was at our luncheon last week on Zeb's Lunch Bunch Day. And as were some of the other folks that are there at Pomerelle Place. It is really quite a place for seniors. And it offers the ability for seniors to maintain their independence both safely and comfortably, and not staying at home alone in isolation, and not worrying about the safety hazards and injuries of being alone. And you don't have to worry about poor nutrition at home, having a Pop-Tart's not qualifying as a gourmet meal, or missed medication. Be sure and give them a call. Find out more. Pomerelle Place, a place for senior living. You really need to go and look at it, check it out, and visit with the nice people. 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Number to call, 677-8212, Pomerelle Place. You be sure and give them a call today. Also want to say thank you to our friends at Dino Septic Service. They do the job that you and I don't want to stand outside and do or, let's be honest, smell. Ooh. Yep, they pump all the septic tanks and the sewer and sink drain lines cleaned and liquid waste removal, septic inspections. They do it all with a big smile on their face, fast, fair, friendly service. And the number to call, two numbers, Rupert 436-6526 or in Burley 678-1638. Dino Septic Service in Rupert with that great big truck, smells cargo on the way. I love it. These are really good people. You give them a call today. All right, give me a call today, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. If I hadn't seen this and heard this, I would not have believed this. But there was a woman on television the other evening, I believe it was on Friday night. Her name is Kathy Abreu, and she is a very, very far left, very weird woman with bugged out eyes, and I call her Wild-Eyed Kathy, and she and others of her ilk right now are demanding, there's the key word, now I want you to respond to this, they are demanding that the word man become illegal. Man. M-A-N. And any other word that contains man, like mailman or mankind or man-made or human or even woman, they demand those words be replaced because now they are not acceptable, and those words with man offend them. I can't wait to hear what some of you have got to say about this, because I know on this program we are not going to alter or change or erase any of the words in our English language. I am going to keep on saying mankind, human. I am going to keep on saying it. She said that she and others are offended, so we must stop. Caller, please. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Oh, I heard her, and so then I start thinking, well, we need to eliminate the word her son, because son is a boy.
That's true.
Personnel, no more personnel working at the... I mean, this could go on forever. Give me a break.
You know, honestly, when you heard that and you saw her, and am I wrong in calling her Wild-Eyed Kathy?
No.
She is a very weird and almost to the point where I think maybe she might need psychiatric care.
Yeah. But yeah, where's it going to stop? Because now all of a sudden I don't like the color, I don't like the word red. So anything with red in it has to go. I mean, excuse me. Get a life.
You know, really, though, what you're talking about, though, she was very adamant, and she said that her and others of her ilk, they want to change the verbiage, and they're going to start making application to various state legislatures and government offices to see that those words are stricken, that they could almost be considered illegal with paying a penalty. Whoa, what kind of a country are we living in now?
Yeah, well, and here's another one. You're talking to a group of people, and you don't even think twice. You say, hey, you guys, and it's a group of all girls.
Yes.
Not one of them says, hey, I'm not a guy.
You know, and that's another really good point. I think just part of the verbiage that we use and kind of a slang verbiage, we're not saying anything to hurt anybody. We're not saying anything to make someone feel less. I've done that 1,000 times. Oh, heck, I've done it millions of times probably, where I've said, hey, guys, let's go get this done.
Yeah, well... And like I said, any word can be turned into something if you want it to.
Or any situation can be concerning to some and to the point where their feelings are hurt. And I don't know about you, but I'm so sorry for Kathy Abreu.
Yeah, well, I heard you talking about that, but I was going to call you for another reason really quick.
Okay.
Just a thought. All right, these schools are saying, oh, we need to have more security. We need to have metal detectors because we can't afford an armed police officer. So how many metal detectors are you going to need for a 6,000-student school?
Yeah.
And do the band members who pack in their metal horns need to go through a separate line?
Yeah, there's so much that I think personally I'm in favor of armed guards. I really am, because name another circumstance in this country where being armed is not protected. Like ballparks, they have protected armed guards. If it's a politician, they have protected armed guards. If it's a Hollywood person, protected armed guards. Why should our kids be anything less?
Yeah, well, and if you put a sign out front of a school that says, this school protected by concealed weapon carriers, you wouldn't even have to have one in there, and that would detour someone.
Oh, I have a tendency to agree with you. I really do. I think you bring up some really good points, and I thank you for calling this morning. Go out and build a snowman and enjoy the day.
I've been shoveling snow since 7 o'clock this morning. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Nice lady right there. I like her. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, the main thing you can't do, and I mean this, you can't laugh at these people. Even though you think that they may be dumber than a post, you can't laugh at the likes of Kathy Abreu and others because they're gaining traction in a very liberal world. They're gaining support. And they've got this idea, well, that word offends me, so I'm going to make sure that it's stricken from any of our dictionaries, etc. You can't say it anymore. Don't laugh at these people. Fight back, but don't laugh, because they're gaining traction and they're gaining numbers, and that's what's fearing. That's right. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Man, woman, mailman. There, I just wanted to kind of stick a little salt in the wound. Let's see what else we got cooking here. Oh, the big bull sale's coming up this next Saturday. Oh, my goodness. This is a ripping big bull sale. Cordell and Patty Sheridan. Wow. I mean, they've put on this bull sale for 23 years. This is the 23rd annual bull sale, and it's going to be March 3rd, this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. at the Burley Auction Yard, and lunch will be provided at noon. Good eating, too. 80 bulls selling, 30 coming 2-year-olds. 50 head of yearlings, and free delivery up to 300 miles. For more information on these really good bulls, Cordell and Patty Sheridan, 824-5531, and you can go to their website, SheridanCattle.com. Sheridan Ranch Bull Sale coming up this Saturday at 1. Don't miss it. Good one. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I noticed that along with the stupidity of Kathy Abreu and others, there is also something else to worry about. And that is many, many people all over the United States. Well, maybe this isn't a concern or something to worry about. Maybe it's something to applaud. Many, many people all over the United States are starting to become much more vocal against, underline that word against, the stupidity of these wind towers and wind farms. They are cancers on the landscape. People are beginning to hate them more and more for the loss of their environment and the cost factor that will never pay for themselves, these wind turbines. And it's very foolish to even try to accept them. And they're subsidized by our tax money. And I was listening to a report the other day that this gentleman that was on this program was saying that many people are realizing that they were fed a bill of goods and that these wind turbines and wind farms, absolutely ridiculous, and they're turning their backs on a lot of them. And basically telling the government, no more. Good. Absolutely good. They're worthless. Always have been. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. By the way, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, when you get a day like this and the snow is falling out there, and then snow has a tendency when it gets mushy to turn to ice, and oh my goodness, all the slipping and the falling, I know all about that. Well, you want to make sure that you give them a call if you've got an ache, a pain, a strain, or recovering from surgery. They can help. They will help. At Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And the number to call for an appointment, 678-1191. The very best of physical therapists, the very best of that hydrotherapy pool. And I'll tell you what, they can help you get back to being you. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. All right, who would like to have a dozen delicious cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox? It's 8:30 and time for the cookie giveaway. I'm going to make this one just a tad tougher this morning. And the first person that calls in at 436-2244 with the right answer that has not won the cookies before, you will be the winner of Sophie's Chatterbox Cookies. Great bakery. Oh, my goodness. They make all those beautiful, delicious wedding cakes and the breads and the pies and the cookies. Oh, and a great restaurant all there at Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Here is the question for the day. Who was the actor that played Adam on Bonanza? Who was the actor that played Adam, the oldest son, on Bonanza? What was the actor's name? First person to call, 436-2244, will win a dozen, and I know these cookies are delicious. So give me a call, 436-2244. Who was the actor that played Adam on Bonanza? Okay? Give us a jingle quickly, and while we're waiting for your phone call, I opened the show up this morning. Would somebody please go change the diapers of the Democratic Party? And it's really true, and I've seen this guy on television. His name is Philippe Rines, a former senior advisor to Hillary Clinton, and he said he is going to make the case that Facebook actually tilted the election in favor of Donald Trump. They're saying that the ads and the sale of the ads was not fair, and so it tilted the election in favor of Donald Trump. And you got to sit back and say, these people are almost to the point of absolutely being off the rails. They're nuts. This is so ridiculous. They still are going after this election over a year later. Can't accept defeat. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Robert.
Would you repeat that again? They didn't at the board over there have the sound turned up. Go ahead.
Hi, it's Pernell Roberts.
And what is your name?
Shelley Spackman.
Say that again, please. Shelley?
Spackman.
Spackman. Now, I got to ask you a question here. Did you know that, or did you have to run and look it up?
My husband called it to me and told me to call it, which I knew too.
So you were burning up the phone lines. You were burning up the phone lines with the right answer, right?
Right.
Okay, well, Shelley, you are the winner. All you need to do is get a hold of Sophie's Chatterbox, call them, and let them know when you're going to be over there for your cookies. Congratulations, it was Pernell Roberts.
Okay, thank you very much.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yep, old Pernell Roberts is the winner. The name, I should say, and Shelley Spackman is the winner. Compliments of her husband if he's listening. Whoo, good job calling her up. That was fantastic. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Like to hear what you have to say this morning, so come on, give me a call quickly, 436-2244. Let's see. Oh, by the way, the Lincoln Day banquet this last Saturday. Lots and lots of people, and it was really a lot of fun. And my compliments and thank yous to Bert and Elaine Stevenson. I just thank them so much for all they do. And I have never seen in my life so many political signs in one condensed area. I mean, when you were walking into the Burley Inn, it was absolutely you wouldn't believe the number of signs. And then when you got in the room, there was signs upon signs. There were almost fist fights. No, I'm kidding. About where to put the signs up, where not to put the signs up. I mean, the only place they didn't put signs, and I was surprised at that, is not on the ceiling. And all the politicals were there. It really was a good day. Had a chance to visit with a lot of these candidates. Had a lot of chance to visit with the various dignitaries. It was just really a nice day, and I want to give kudos to the Republican Party. It was a good Lincoln Day banquet. Thank you very much. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear what you have to say, so give us a jingle on the landline. The sheriff of Broward County, his name is Israel, that's his last name, Sheriff Israel, said it was not his deputies' actions or reactions or inactions. It wasn't his responsibility. When I heard that this morning, I about honestly fell out of my chair. The sheriff is being really criticized for the way that this situation in Broward County at Douglas High School was handled, rightfully so. There should be a lot of criticism leveled at him and then also the FBI and others. That this young man, 19 years of age, Nicholas Cruz, literally fell through the cracks. After warning upon warning and warning, 35, 40 of them. I mean, come on, let's get serious here. And he said that what his deputies did or didn't do was not his responsibility. Really? Really? You are the sheriff. You are the man that is number one. And I doubt seriously, and I mean this, that you would not ever hear Sheriff Heward or any other sheriff say something like that, so calloused after what happened. Well, what they did or didn't do is not my responsibility. Yes, it is. You're the head man. I cannot believe this. These people like him are in power and basically wiping the dust off their sleeve in a very casual manner. Well, what they did, it's not my responsibility. What are your thoughts on that? I personally think the man should be fired by noon today. What are your thoughts? quickly. This is something I want to hear from you. And in regards to school security in general, there are those on the left that I don't know why they go after an attack on the NRA. The NRA had nothing to do with what happened and occurred. And it looks like they're just grasping for straws and trying to lay the blame at the feet of anybody, except really the culprit and the alleged killer, Nicholas Cruz. And also to the law enforcement agencies that literally dropped the ball. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, sir. Yeah, that sheriff, he's a piece of work, isn't he?
Well, you know, he really came out and got on Dana Lash in a one-on-one visit in front of the news media last week, and he condemned her and the NRA, and she stood her ground. I really compliment her. But to say that he does not have the responsibility, if you're the employer of your employees and they don't fix something properly, Doug, who really is going to assume the responsibility?
It's me.
That's right.
It's you. It's your business.
That's right.
It's the sheriff. Well, if he can dodge that question, then why do we hold President Trump responsible?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if the shoe fits, wear it, and this man is not putting on his pair of shoes.
No, this man's a coward. He's there for the bucks. I've got an opinion on this. I don't know if I dare post it on your show or not, but I think there's a lot behind this that's yet to come out, and it's going to make a lot of people go, what?
You know, and Doug, as long as anything is presented on this program in a very condensed and civil manner, I have nothing against it. I just think that sometimes we're so afraid to speak out, we're so afraid to exercise the First Amendment. Don't let that inhibit you.
Okay. Then, like the Democrat Party always does, never let a crisis go to waste.
Yeah.
Here's a crisis coming up. Let's use it. And I've read some stuff about 4 or 5 different places, and it's all saying about the same thing, that the school board and the principals at these schools were having so many arrests that it was looking bad on them for financial aid and stuff like this, that they cut way back on it so the schools would look a lot better.
Well, and the thing is, when you hear something or read something like this, A, you have to verify it. B, if it's from a bona fide source. But, you know, in this country, I dare say this, and I'm so glad you mentioned it just a moment ago. Why are we afraid to lay all the cards on the table face up? Why do people right now today, more so than ever before, why are they afraid to speak out on various subjects and say, well, I feel this might be an extenuating circumstance? They're afraid because of the left going to go after them. Exactly.
And that's where we need to get a backbone and say, bring it on.
Yeah,
if you've
absolutely.
got facts to say that I'm wrong, bring it on.
Yeah.
If you just got political rhetoric to put me down, I'm an ism of some sort, then you don't have anything, and my facts will trump your isms every day.
Well, and the thing is, with you and caller number 2, don't hang up. I'll be there just momentarily. Stand by. But it doesn't make any difference if it's you, if it's me, or whomever. If you state a position by stating that this is alleged and this is another way to view this, how in the world can the left come and shut you up?
Well, they can try.
Yeah.
Like they did that young lady that put the flag out her business with the blue stripe in it.
Yeah.
They can try.
Yeah.
But, you know, the DA or the Attorney General of Florida was on this morning, and I think there's a lot more to come on this deal, and I think it's, like I say, it's going to make people say, what?
Yeah. I have heard some of the innuendos and the rumors that you're talking about, and on my program, like I said, I'm going to verify anything before I personally say it, but I do not begrudge anybody for voicing an opinion if it's in a civil and very, professional manner, and instead of saying, well, this is the fact, you know, you're saying that it's alleged and there might be other things coming out, and there very well may be. The same as the Las Vegas shooting. There are many things still to come out.
Exactly. And what that sheriff needs to do is go back and reread that oath of office that he took so he could be sheriff and get all that, get his paycheck. Reread that and say, okay, did I do this? And if he didn't, he should step down.
I agree. Doug, always good. I get into the call waiting, my friend. Thank you.
Hey, God bless. Everybody, let's do what we can for our seniors.
Absolutely. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead quickly, please.
It's the Hillary mentality. Not me, And also, if that football coach had been a concealed weapons carrier, what would the outcome have been different?
This morning at 4:30, I turned on the news to catch up on what happened over the weekend. And the point that you're making right now, ma'am, is exactly what they said. Had the coach had a gun in his hand to try to fight back and take down the attacker, then he wouldn't have had to try to place his body in front of 8 students and shield them. And he was shot, I think it was 6 times. I absolutely agree with you.
Well, and we were talking about it. Okay, so you're the concealed carrier, and you don't know where they are. But if you shoot up towards the ceiling, towards where the ceiling and the wall meet, just pop a round off up there. 95% of the time, those shooters go, "Oh crap! I've got somebody who's going to oppose me," and they either commit suicide or they run.
And quite frankly, that's been a proven fact of intimidation against them, and that's true. But I will say this, that if the teachers do not want to arm themselves, or if some do, it should be on a voluntary basis. But I still maintain, and I'm not going to weaken on my point, that I would be very, very supportive of paying some of my tax dollars to make sure that somebody that is capable and not a one-bullet Barney is protecting our school kids, and he or she is going to be the first line of defense.
Exactly. Well, Sandy Hook, if that principal had had a gun,
yes,
that wouldn't have happened. She might have died, but it wouldn't have happened at all.
Why is it, in your opinion...
If I remember right, it was the first one to come across him.
Yeah, let me ask you one question here, and then I've got to get a weather forecast on. But why is it that there's such a denigration of this concept by the left, and they said, well, how dare you suggest that we send our children to armed camps? Wait a minute. When you go to a baseball game or a football game or anything else, aren't you protected by those that are standing outside the entranceways with pistols in their holsters?
Exactly.
And why should the kids be any less?
Yeah, well, and here in Idaho, you go to a basketball game, and we don't have an armed guard outside the door, but you don't know how many of the guys or gals in there are packing.
Yeah.
In there right beside you, cheering their child on.
Very, very true, and I do thank you for your call this morning. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. God bless.
You bet. God bless you. Nice lady right there. Holy cow, I got to get a commercial on here and then a weather forecast, and then I'll take some more of your calls. I really would like to hear from you. Berry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts, and they've got 3 locations, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Juan. Hello, Juan! And 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls with Eli, and also up in Nampa. Holy cow! They've got all the equipment you need. Equipment rentals, retail equipment sales, and they've got all the Bobcat excavators, new and used, for sale or rent, all shapes and sizes. All you need to do is just get in there, and they can help you at Berry Equipment and Rental. Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. You stop in, excuse me, and see them today. Wow, time for the weather forecast. Snow must have gotten my throat. And the weather forecast brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Easy to say if you say it right. And they're right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. The number to call, 312-0957. They have 2 wonderful doctors there, Dr. Christine Pickup and also Dr. Courtney Mitchell. Please, they can help you with your hearing needs. Give them a call, make an appointment today, 312-0957. Right now, here's our weather.
Welcome to Winter 2.0 as we are expecting some more snow showers in the forecast for today. Here is your weather forecast for Zev at the Ranch. We're looking at patchy blowing snow at least up until about noon. Cloudy skies and wind is going to be a factor out of the west-southwest, right around 15 miles an hour, gusts possible as high as 25 miles an hour. Total daytime accumulations for today is right around an inch. We are looking at a high of 35. Tonight looks like 20% chance of snow showers after midnight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 13. Tomorrow we will see some sunshine, high of 30, mostly cloudy for tomorrow night, low of 10. By Wednesday, mostly sunny skies with a high of 34. Wednesday night, looks like we do have a slight chance of precipitation in the form of snow. Mostly cloudy skies, low of 24, and then Thursday, 50% chance of snow showers with a high of 38. That is your weather forecast for Zev at the Ranch.
Oh, thank you. And the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they're located right smack dab behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. You better call this number and make an appointment at 312-0957. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your call.
Yes, I'm going to get a little off the beaten track here. You know, if that kid would have been going to school and he'd taken a Bible with him, they would have thrown him and the Bible plumb out. He got in there with a gun.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me how our school system works today. You got one thing that speaks of peace and wonderful things, you know, the love of the Lord and that, and the other one that can destroy life. Of course, both of them can in a way, I guess. But it just amazes me that you can't take a Bible into school if you can get a gun in.
Amen.
And I'm all for the teachers being armed. I don't think all of them should be, no. I think trained teachers that have been taught how to shoot and, you know, have a little bit of knowledge on how to defend themselves would be a wonderful thing. I'd sure be glad to see my grandkids guarded by somebody like that.
Jerry, I thank you, and that was very well presented. Thank you so much for your call this morning.
You bet. May the Lord bless you and your whole audience.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Wonderful day.
Thank you, sir. I want to give this to you real quick, that after the Conservative Political Action Committee gathering this last week in D.C., Donald Trump has a 93% approval rating. That's pretty doggone good. 93%. Meanwhile, and this is interesting, Dianne Feinstein can't even get her Democratic Party support in California. Oh, and by the way, did you hear about the mayor of Oakland, California? Her name is Libby Schiff. She is sending out warning notices. Listen to this very carefully. She's sending out warning notices to illegal aliens to avoid and hide from the Immigration and Customs Service. This woman should absolutely be fired immediately for not only bending and breaking the law, but enhancing law breaking. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, how are you this morning?
I am good, thank you.
Hey, you know, on this shooter deal, you know, after they come out with things all over Facebook or social media, whatever they're doing, you know, why couldn't some of them people on the left got a hold of that kid and pumped him up a little bit? And you know, it just stinks to high heaven. And you know, every time just like that Vegas shooting deal down there, every time them Democrats get in a little trouble, something happens.
Yeah.
But that's my thought.
No, and let me ask you something, and I'm not going to ask your name or anything like that on the air, but are you a member of the NRA?
No, but I'm just about to join.
Okay, well, I am. And the reason I ask that question is you, as an innocent American that may or may not own a gun for your own protection or the protection of your property, you are being lumped together as evil by the left right now, as if we were the cause of what happened in Florida and other places. And I find that totally repulsive.
Well, it is. I mean, you know, they just like old Doug said, they never let a good crisis go to waste.
Amen.
This deal stinks to high heaven with this kid.
I agree with you. Thank you very much for your call and your perspective on this morning. Thank you.
Okay, keep that damn snow down there in Murtaugh. We don't need some more.
Okay. All right, sir. Thank you very, very much.
Bye.
Oh, the snow. I am so sick of the snow. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You and I, we had nothing to do with it. Now, I am a gun owner, and I am a member of the NRA. Now, why am I guilty? Why am I looked down upon as a second-class citizen? Why am I, according to the left, a person, we got to watch him. We got to watch him. Why? Why? Because I want to make sure that my wife and I are protected. I'm the first line of defense for our security, being in a rural area. But yet they will come out and denigrate and hate us. And they are the ones, they being the left, that are mocking and cajoling and ridiculing and asking for us to give up our safety and security. And they look at us like we're guilty. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It's a terrible, terrible thing that happened in Florida, at Sandy Hook, at Columbine, Denver, other places. But innocent people trying to protect themselves and their family should never, ever have the finger pointed at them. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And here we are almost at the end of February. And I want to remind you that the month of February was what they call their Founders Celebration in honor of Mr. Les Schwab. Oh, my goodness, great buys on tires for your car, your pickup, your SUVs. And doing the right thing matters all the time, every time, at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget to get in there and check them out today. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. That's not brag, that's a fact. The very best are your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I'm going to talk about gun ownership and the way that guns are taken care of. One of the things that we all need to teach our children is that guns are dangerous, of course. But if we don't have guns in our homes and we're not ready to protect ourselves, we may not live through the night. One night, if somebody gets into our house and has a gun and we don't. Or just, there's numerous, like the schools. My goodness, if those school kids aren't protected by somebody with a gun, look what happens. And we've seen it happen 2 or 3 times already in our country. Why is the gun the enemy?
That's right.
I think every United States citizen should be required to learn about guns, learn how to handle them, and maybe every household have a gun, and somebody be prepared to hold off the enemy.
You know, Chris, quickly, I want to have this question directed to you. In the paper this morning was a letter by a Stephen Popino. I believe he's the same one that used to write for the Times News years ago, and he made this statement in his letter. He said, I have lived in Idaho for over 30 years and have yet to hear any sensible reason to buy a gun. Evidently, this guy's been living under a rock. How would you respond to this man?
Well, I think the fact that so many people in Idaho do own guns, and I think it's probably a well-known that fact that a lot of people are not going to walk into your house.
That's right.
Because if they've not been in your house before, they might have a real surprise if they walk through my front door.
Well, and that's just the thing. I don't care if it's elderly. I don't care if it's newly married. I don't care who it is. You have every right to be safe on your property, in your home. And today there are a bunch of crazies and weirdos out there that want to do and take and do whatever they have to perhaps line their pockets with your goods. And I think at this point we need to be very aware and still be the first line of defense for our families.
Right. I think that if we think we can wait, especially the further away you are from the local sheriff, that's that much less protection you have. And they can't be everywhere.
Absolutely. Chris, I got to run to the news. Thank you for bringing up these points. I appreciate it. We're going to take a quick jaunt to CBS News and then be back with Frosty Woldridge right after the news. God bless. Have a good day. Oh, my. Good morning on a Monday. And, of course, February 26th, the last Monday of this month. Holy cow, where did it go? I'm Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, before we go any further, let's have this good word for Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
Western Way Services always at your disposal. Don't forget, call them, get on the route service. Once a week, their big trucks will come pulling up and get your garbage. Wave goodbye. It's gone. It's out of there. Their service is absolutely the best. Give them a call today. Western Way Services, 734-6969. Always at your disposal. Right now, also, I quickly want to remind you, Saturday is going to be a great big bull sale, 23rd annual bull sale for the Sheridan Ranch, Cordell and Patty Sheridan. And Cordell's going to be on the program with us a little bit later on this morning. Absolutely one of the West's best bull sales, offering yearlings of Gelbvieh, Angus, and Balancer bulls. They're going to have 80 bulls to sell, 30 coming 2-year-olds, 50 yearlings, and it's going to be March 3rd at 1 p.m. this coming Saturday at the Burley Auction Yard in Burley. Sheridan Ranch Bull Sales. Simply put, this is one of the best anywhere you be there, okay? Don't forget. Right now, I want to go to my dear friend back in Golden, Colorado, and I think what I want to say before I introduce him is that over 9 years ago, both Frosty and I withstood the tempest of hate from the Democrats, not only here in this state and in this area, but nationwide. And they called us racist because we were against Barack Obama. And Frosty just came out with a piece called "We Need a National Discussion, Are You a Racist?" This is an excellent article, and good morning to Frosty Woldridge.
Good morning, Zeb. Pleasure. And I'm glad we can have this discussion again, because it's an ongoing tempest across the entire United States. Here in Denver, Colorado, we have racial conflict in the news virtually every week, if not every night. Somebody's calling somebody a racist. There's a racial confrontation in schools. And as my article shows, and you can go to newswithviews.com to get the full story, or CapitolHillOutsider.com, there was racism charges in the Olympics. Big newspapers like the New York Times, I think, said that the virtually all-white Olympic team from America didn't represent the true America.
No, brother.
Well, the reality is that anyone can compete for the Olympic trials, and they can get in there. In fact, a guy named Shani Davis is a black skate racer, and he got in. There's another lady who got into bobsleds who was a former Olympic sprinter.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody can get into the Olympics, but you got to qualify. And yet we were called racist because virtually the entire team was white. But of course, we all know that winter sports are enjoyed by all Americans of every stripe, and but yet here the racism charge came out again. So I just felt that I needed to bring it to the forefront across the nation, and that piece published nationally today.
You know, what is going on here? You and I have been called white supremacists. You and I have been called white nationalists. You and I have been called racist. I am sick and tired of having that connotation thrown at me or anybody else. I am fed up with it. I think that this thing is absolutely nothing more than a leftist word to go and minimize and denigrate people, and the left primarily are the ones that are throwing it around.
Virtually the left is the only, organization, if you will, the Democrats, the liberals, that are using the word racist. It's used prolifically by Nancy Pelosi. It's certainly used by Chuck Schumer. It's used by Dianne Feinstein out there in California. It's been used by LeBron James. It's been used by Oprah Winfrey. And it's amazing that they literally everything they can throw at anybody to shut them up or slow them down or mark them, they call them a racist. And of course, as I show in this article, I have absolutely been a solid American citizen. Have never denigrated any race or color in my life, and I, as a world traveler, respect all races, colors, and ethnic groups because everybody's doing the best they can. And so this moniker of being called a racist simply doesn't fit what we're doing. What we're trying to do here on this radio show and across America is deal with the fact that we cannot continue to immigrate the rest of the world into our country and survive. And that's my main goal, is to stop all mass immigration, help them in their own countries, and allow them to thrive in their own countries instead of coming here as refugees, which solves nothing, as I've said many times, because the third world keeps having 80 million new babies net gain every year. So it accomplishes nothing but creates total chaos in our country.
Well, at the bottom of the first page of your great piece, I'm going to read it. And then I'm going to ask you a question, so stand by. You said, quote, ironically, African Americans enjoy totally racist organizations throughout the country without a whisper of racism. Black Lives Matter, Miss Black America, Black Caucus, Black Entertainment Television, Black History Month, Black Panther movies, Blackish TV sitcoms, all black colleges, all black fraternities and sororities, all black cruises to get away from whites as shown on Facebook, and the list grows. Now, there's a couple of things I wanted to add on here. Number one, they being the blacks in our country, also have a black chamber of commerce, and they also have the United Negro College Fund. Now, if Frosty Woolridge and Zeb Bell were to start an all white lives matter or all whites only Miss America, can you imagine what all hell would break loose then?
That's exactly correct. The BET, which is Black Entertainment Television, if you had a WET, which would be White Entertainment Television, it would absolutely be accursed. It would be overthrown. It would be tossed out in a heartbeat. And there's no such thing as White History Month. There certainly is no such thing as White Lives Matter. And there would never be a white Miss White America. And yet, this kind of racism is just accepted as the normal deal in this country. And, of course, it's totally racist. It's totally separating us, and it totally is unfair to not only the blacks, but it's unfair to the whites, because in the end, we're supposed to be an equal opportunity country, and there's no such thing in the Constitution that says that one race is over another. That's just the way it is.
Well, Frosty, I've known you for almost 20 years. And I know you, and same here, right back at you. But I've known you to be an honest person, a straightforward person, and I think you can say the same of me. We are very good friends. I'm proud of who I am. That has nothing to do with race. I'm not trying to lord my white ship, if you will, over anyone else. So why in the world is it so easy for, I think, these mentally backward people to start calling you and I racist?
Yeah, again, it's when they don't have any facts. And I've been in lots of debates over the years, and one of the things that happens in a debate when a particular side is losing and they don't have the intellectual power or the intellectual facts or the intellectual understandings to comprehend, the first thing they do is start hurling names. And, of course, names cannot be, you cannot change an argument or a dialectic with names and name-calling, because facts are facts. And facts are not racist. Facts are not xenophobic. They're not nativist. Facts are facts. And so that's why I'm able to, weather that kind of storm of the name-calling, because I really run on facts. And so do you. That's the way we roll.
Well, let me ask you, you're white. Oh, goodness, I hope you knew that before I said that. I'm white. I'm a Caucasian. I am very proud of my country. I'm very proud of my flag. I'm very proud of my heritage here in America. So now that makes me automatically a white nationalist, and that's what's being condemned. What's wrong with what I am?
Well, there is absolutely everything right with what you are. And I celebrate all races, as I said, yellow, brown, black, and so forth. But what I explain in this article that I would hope everybody is reading is a look back at humanity's survival provides the answer to racism. Ethnic tribes protected their own. They fought against other tribes. Evolution brought about differing characteristics of humans based on where they lived. In reality, racism stems from biology. In other words, it exists in the fibers of every ethnic group. No matter how much education, how much empathy, and how much abundance, members of ethnic groups prefer to be among their own. While able to mingle across America, ethnic groups self-segregate at every dining table, sporting event, and church, and beyond that. So racism is not just black and white and brown and red and yellow. It's simply the human race and how it operates. And what I'm trying to cover in this particular column is that we better get down to respecting one another and quit hurling all of these names at one another. And we may not appreciate each other. We may not want to, a white person may not want to go to a black church or a black school or a black college or whatever, and a black person may not want to do the same thing. However, we're in this thing together because we're in this thing together, and what I'm hoping is that we learn to respect each other, and at the same time we get to choose to live in our own separate neighborhoods. We get to choose to work in the arenas that we feel most comfortable, and that there shouldn't be any kind of a racial slinging of names at anybody that chooses what they choose. And obviously, no one's slinging any names of racism against the BET or the Black Caucus. They're not slinging any names at LeBron James, even though he's slinging the names. And so I think we need to get to some balance here.
One other sentence that I really highlighted in your report was this. Louis Farrakhan, Al Sharpton, and Jesse Jackson accuse all whites of being racist. One black lady on Facebook gave a lecture as to why all whites prove themselves racist by the color of their skin. My gosh, have we got back to a point where we're even further in the toilet than we were back in Selma, Alabama, back in the 60s?
Well, unfortunately, pretty much so. And it's not helped by people like Oprah Winfrey. I saw an interview where she said that the only way to stop future racism is all white people have to die. That kind of leadership at the top by Oprah Winfrey, who white people made her rich because they watched her show. I mean, the whole Oprah show for the 25 years she was on was all covered and made her a billionaire by white people. And yet here she comes back and she snarls at white people and tells us, I saw the interview, she said, in order for racism to stop, we have to wait for all the white people to die. I mean, that's the kind of duplicity. And yet you and I get called names. Does anybody call Oprah Winfrey a racist? Does anybody call LeBron James a racist? No, of course they don't. And so that's the inconsistency here. And, of course, again, you and I stand on integrity, and the facts are the facts, and they have nothing to do with black, white, red, or brown. Facts are facts. They're not any kind of a racial aspect, and that's why we really can stand our ground and stand on our integrity.
Well, and let me give you another example, and I've gone through this on numerous occasions, and I think I'm right, and I'm not going to change my approach to this issue. One of the largest fundraising organizations for blacks in this country, of course, is the United Negro College Fund. And every time I draw criticism against them for saying that I'm trying to be a white supremacist or I'm a white nationalist, I acknowledge the fact that they use the word Negro, but we can't say it because when we do, automatically, we're a racist.
Well, again, the inconsistencies that are going on in this country right now defy imagination of equality and rational thought, because you have the one side, whether it's multi-millionaires in the NFL who are taking a knee against their own country, and that is accepted, that is celebrated, that is tolerated. We're all in this thing together, black, white, again, red, brown, yellow. And if we don't maintain equity in our concepts of our appreciation for the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Certainly, all of us have a right to vote. We all have a right to participate. The Olympics had nothing to do with race or creed or color. It's about the best person who goes out there and competes and gets to go to the games. It's not about the color of their skin. And we have to get down to that. That's why I would really like to have a national discussion about respect. We have to respect one another, respect our race, respect our color, and respect our religion, even though they're all different. We have to respect them if this country is going to flourish here in the 21st century.
And you bring up a really good point, Frosty, whether it is the Rooney Rule in football, which means, after Art Rooney, that you have to, if you're hiring a coach or coaching staff, you have to make sure that you automatically include many African Americans or others in the minority, and then if you don't hire them and you hire, let's say, a white Caucasian, you have to give a list of reasons as to why you did or did not hire the others. This is lunacy. I still think, and I maintain, regardless of your skin color or your ethnicity, the best person for the job regardless. How would you respond to that?
Well, that's exactly, and let's just go to the Olympics. That Shaney Davis guy, the black guy that was a speed skater who got himself pretty well spanked and took an exit out of the Olympics. He got there because he beat out a whole bunch of white people. And nobody's sitting there calling him a racist. And that bobsled lady who was a sprinter, she gets on the bobsled, and she's black, and she's an American. Did anybody call her a racist because she got into the bobsled? Because bobsled normally is all white. Well, again, we're seeing a disproportionate and disgraceful bias here against a Caucasian people because they simply won their slot in this Olympics, whereas when the Summer Olympics come on, look at all the racers. The Kenyans, the blacks. Blacks literally own the Olympics when it comes to running and jumping and all the other things that go with it. Does anyone call them racist? And of course not. They don't get that moniker, whatever. So we really got to get down to the fact is the best person for the job, whether it's a black coach or a white coach. In Denver here right now, we've got a black head coach. He's a terrible coach. He's done a terrible job. I mean, we went from Super Bowl champions to down at the bottom of the NFL pile. And the reason is because this coach that we have, Vance Joseph, I think his name is a terrible coach. I don't care if he's white, black, or brown. He's a terrible coach. We need to deal with that and hopefully at some point get a better coach in there. And it might be another black coach that's a better coach. But the coach that's there right now in the Denver Broncos is a loser, and the team is a losing team. And nobody's calling anybody, nobody's calling him racist because he's up there in the coach's deal. That's, like I say, you're seeing such an inconsistency here, and it's starting to be really a little bit. It's just unfair on so many levels.
Well, and the thing is, you cannot force anyone or somebody to accept or live next to or invite over to play pinochle people of another race. It's like you said in your note, it's a personal call, but yet we can still respect everyone.
Well, that's exactly right. We must, I think, I choose to respect every race and color and ethnic group because they're all doing the best they can. I mean, whether it's it's the black mother down there in the ghetto that's living on welfare and she's a single mother with one or two kids, and she's struggling. Oh my gosh. Or it's the white mother that's in an abusive relationship and she's struggling. I've seen all these things. I've seen them worldwide. And as I've said, in the end, everybody gets to enjoy certain people of certain races, you name it, whatever it is. It's a personal call. Mm-hmm. And in the end, it has to be a call of respect for each human being that you encounter. We need Oprah and we need all black leaders to speak about peaceful coexistence, the same with white leaders. And in the end, we need to move forward with that respect rather than all of this discord that is created by, Oprah Winfrey or Al Sharpton or Louis Farrakhan or any of all LeBron James. I mean, he's a millionaire not because of all the white people, the black people watching him play basketball. Mostly the stands are filled with whites.
Yeah.
That shows that there's really no racism here. Otherwise, no one would watch the NBA because it's 99% black. I think in the end, America, it shows the world that we are the nation that has been dealing with the racial differences, and we've been pretty successful at it as compared to other countries around the world.
Amen. Amen. Excellent article. And Frosty, if they want to follow this, give us the website where they can go and pick this piece out. Please, it's excellent.
Yes, again, CapitolHillOutsider.com or newswithviews.com or two of it's published all over the country today on 20 different websites. You can go to my Facebook page, Frosty Wooldridge, and you can pick it up right there. And again, I hope this creates a national discussion. I hope it creates a discussion in our own communities, whether it's Twin Falls in Idaho or whether it's in Denver, Colorado or Golden, Colorado. We really need to have this discussion, and we all need to be equitable human beings and stop slinging this name around called racist or racism. We need to work together to bring America together to flourish in the 21st century. And I hope that this is the kind of discussion that we'll create and follow through with and make it a meaningful experience for everybody to be an American citizen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My dear friend in Golden, Colorado, Frosty Woolridge. Thank you, Frosty. We'll talk to you next Monday. Thank you much.
Thank you, Zeb.
God bless. Thank you. Great article, and I urge you to read it. Excellent job. Hey, by the way, I want to remind you, too, about our friends over at Hanson Mortuary. 710 6th Street in Rupert. Joel Heward, his family, staff, and, of course, serving you and your family in a time of need when there's the passing of a loved one. You know, it's really a difficult time, and they always treat you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please write the number down, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, located at 710 6th Street in Rupert. All of us, of course, need to get the information about pre-planning funerals to alleviate a lot of the stress and the worry for our families. They can and they will help at Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Want to remind you, good things happening with our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Oh, my. You walk in the door, and you're going to be greeted with a wow. That's what's going to come across your lips. Wow. You're going to say, what a selection of furniture and tables and chairs and couches and all the flooring and the bedroom sets and the mattresses. Oh, the list goes on and on. But you know something else? You're going to be greeted by a staff that really knows and understands the beautification of your home and the comfort for your home. I'm talking about the great staff led by Jeff and the crew at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see those good people today. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. In just a moment, we're going to have a good friend on our program. I always enjoy having him on, Craig Richardson. Stand by for that. But before we do, I want to remind you, too, about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24, not 30, Highway 24 over to Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and so much more for you, your family, and your business. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, dedicated and responsive to your needs. Please make a call for an appointment today at 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance in Rupert. One other business note, and boy, I tell you what, with the snow falling out there ought to be ample snow to get up in the hills on your snowmobiles, and they've got them over there at Let's Ride. Now, they're also thinking spring, and they're saying that if you have your four-wheeler service now, they're going to be ready to go when this angel dandruff is all melted and gone away. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. What a service department to get you ready, keep you running, and along with that, they've got a super accessory department. They've got a showroom full of fun. Stop over and see them today. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Right now, let's go to the phone line. Don't want to keep him waiting any longer, and he is the president of Energy and Environmental Institute, Craig Richardson. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good, Zeb. How are you been?
Well, I got to tell you, Craig, I think you've been on my program in the past. I am not happy with the cancers on the landscape called wind turbines, and it looks like it's going to get used. Tell us what's going on with this absolutely insane energy program.
Well, I will say that, and I agree with you with those god-awful, ugly, octopus-looking things, but I will say that there is positive movement in that we have a president of the United States along with an EPA administrator that are determined to at least stem some of the tide of these outrageous environmental regulations that have choked off our energy capabilities and our quality of life. So there is positive developments. We're just a year or so into the new administration, and he's made wonderful strides. But that leaves the rest of the state and local communities, which is where, when you talk wind, I mean, that's mostly what they do anyway. They go to local communities, buy off the town council or the city council with visions of sugar plums dancing in their head, and then the landowners ultimately cave because they can get real royalties on having those monsters on their property. So that's unfortunately a different game than the federal game, but there are subsidies all the way up to the federal level, that's for sure.
Craig, tell my audience a little bit about some of the absolutely frivolous and stupid lawsuits that have been led by various people like Bill de Blasio and others to start suing energy companies on behalf of their addition to, if you will, and they think so, climate change.
Well, I've got to give you a little bit of background on this, because and I've been on your show before when we were in the middle of this, but their first attempt started in March of 2016 when Al Gore got onto a dais in New York City with almost 20 other states attorneys general led by Eric Schneiderman of New York, determined that they were going to get together with these 18 or so lawmakers of the most powerful in each state and use RICO statutes and everything else to go against Exxon, because Exxon, of course, knew that fossil fuels were going to cooking the world and the climate change was going to swamp all the cities. And we submitted a Freedom of Information Act quickly into a bunch of states, but Vermont produced first. And what that unveiled was something 2 to 3 years in the making, a strategy that went back to a conference in La Jolla, California, where all the lefties got together with, it was funded by the Rockefeller Foundation, and they essentially got the blueprint from the tobacco shakedown of the 90s, and they were going to essentially use the same game plan. So they had that all teed up. Our Freedom of Information Act exposed that for what it was. You also may remember they were also going to use and did find an attorney general of the Virgin Islands, of all places, who sent an indictment into the Competitive Enterprise Institute looking for 10 years' worth of their records and donor records and everything. And so CEI pushed back. We exposed this thing for what it was, which was a grand shakedown scheme similar to the tobacco settlement of the 90s, in which case the trial bar got a third of that, billions of dollars. And they were going to do the same thing, only add a couple more zeros onto their settlement. And so we were able to push back on that by exposing it, and by a year or so later, there's only 2 attorneys general, not surprising, the guy from New York, and then, of course, somebody from Massachusetts, and the other ones fled for the hills. So we think, okay, well, this strategy is now behind us. Well, after the AGs didn't pan out and then Trump took over as president, then they decided to go to the cities and counties. So that's background to say that it's the same strategy. They've just found 5 lefty counties in California, and of course de Blasio in New York, which the Rockefellers have owned New York for 100+ years, so getting the mayor to do something in New York isn't too hard. But it's the same concept, basically, but instead of Exxon, they've added 4 or 5 other energy companies, and their claim essentially is climate change is real, you knew about it, we are going to sue you for future damages when the sea levels rise and the earth cooks and all the rest. So they're trying to, that's the genesis or the basis of their lawsuit. The fact of the matter, this all goes back to a Rockefeller launch strategy back in 2012, and Tom Steyer's in on it as well.
Let me ask you, Craig, and I think you and I have talked about this before, and it's a very simplistic question, but I have yet to have anybody on the left or anybody else explain this to me. What do they want? Do they want us all to drive a cart, whether it's by an oxen or a horse, to the market maybe once a week? Because that's many of us in the rural areas, that's all we could do. Do they want us to live in caves? Do they want us to live in sod huts? What do they want?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on who you're talking about, but in the end, Deb, you're talking about the most important, next to your health, energy is the most important product there is out there. That's
right.
It differentiates the developed countries from the undeveloped country. It's what makes us who we are in terms of Americans and being able to get in our cars and our freedom. If you can control that, you can control everyone. And that's a big part of what these global elitists want. They want to be able to control this. We just saw recently with Soros investing in a bunch of coal-fired power plants and other fossil fuel companies. That's another part of it. They have taken great family-owned businesses, mostly in Appalachia, Kentucky, West Virginia, and they've obliterated those companies. Like PBD went into bankruptcy and the other ones. And then the left and these marauders like Soros are using hedge funds to buy up the assets. So coal is still a third of our energy, our electric production grid. It's not like it's going away. It's just who owns it is what's changing. So that's another part of it. The Supreme Court once used the term a naked transfer of wealth from one industry to the other. In this case, it's from family-owned businesses that employ, good part of various states to these global elitists like Soros and Steyer. So that's part of it as well. It's controlling the assets. And then it's also done on a worldwide scale. I mean, Gore's part of this as well. And then you have the other piece of this, which is the green energy. You mentioned windmills on the way in. Well, their former brother Obama was handing out green energy subsidies to his friend like candy. Al Gore got close to $10 billion in Obama's first year and a half of office. So this is what this is. This is a raid on the Treasury.
Well, it really is a raid on the Treasury, but let me ask you this question. When they come out with blatant lies, and I had a person on my program about 2 weeks ago that was advocating that now wind and solar are on parity costs with gas and coal. Now, I perked up my ears right away, and I said, that's not true. That is absolutely not the truth. Wind and solar still, wind especially, being subsidized by the United States taxpayers, and power companies forced and coerced to buy that extremely high power. It never will be on parity as far as I'm concerned. Am I wrong?
No, absolutely not. You want your state or L.A. or New York to be? You think they're ever going to be driven solely on wind and solar?
No.
That's what Governor Moonbeam out there in California. They're going to go to 100% renewables by 2050. I'm like, good luck on that. I mean, the worldwide use of renewables in terms of its percentage of the grid is less than 1%. I mean, solar's been around since the 50s. It's not like this is a new technology. It can't be done to the level of commercial that needs to be done. I mean, it's fine if you're going to go send up a probe to Mars or something, or, I've seen them now on the tops of little stop signs that make them light up at night. That's fine. Or if you have your own farm and you want to run it on wind, God bless you. It's America. Do what you want. But to think that it's ever going to be a significant part of a commercial grid, I mean, I wouldn't want to live on it.
But when you talk about, and you wrote this piece called Stop the Madness, there was one paragraph that really caught my attention, and you said, if this extreme left faction succeeds, consumer energy prices would certainly increase, ironically, disproportionately, harming low-income households all over the country. What about the American consumer, Craig? How in the world are they ever going to withstand this onslaught by the left of taking, let's say, more economical power away?
They're not, and we've seen it with our cousins across the pond in England in particular, and some of other countries in Europe. In typical English fashion, they came up with a euphemism, calling it winter death. But really what that means is that the old people, the pensioners, they call them, couldn't afford to turn their heat on because of electric heat, and so they froze to death. I mean, they had tens of thousands of these people freezing to death in their home. So that's the result of what these policies are. The utility companies don't care. They're in a monopoly. They're just going to pass it on anyway. And so it ultimately goes to the consumer. And then, then in a socialist government, of which we have several people who are pushing for this, then the government gets to come in and determine who gets energy and who doesn't. And that's the game as well. This is all a control thing. This is, in the end, and when you look at the original statements from the people at the UN who the first chair, she's a woman of that committee that pushed climate change back in the early 90s, she said that climate change wasn't an end in itself. It was a means to the end of the redistribution of wealth. And when you hear things like that, and she's an avowed communist, then you get a sense for what this is all about. So cheap energy equals independence in America. It's what made us great. We were the ones who first came along with the drilling and the oil, and it's what has separated us from the rest of the world. And Trump, God bless him, has come in there and said, we are going to be dominant again in energy. And that scares the powers that shouldn't be, because that means freedom. And the opposite, if you can control energy, you can control people, and that's the bottom line.
Absolutely. I'd like you to comment. I'm sure you read about that Princeton physicist that came out recently within the last 2 weeks, and he said the models of testing climate change and or temperatures have been very false, and they've been doctored over the many, many years. Here we have a noted physicist from one of our most noted universities in this country, from Princeton, coming out and saying that the way these things have been garnered and given to the public, they have been falsified. Why shouldn't we question climate change as always being the blame on mankind?
You should, and there's all the regulations that the EPA stuffed down people's throats under Obama was all based on faulty models. I mean, Al Gore had to come out with a second movie talking about the dangers of climate change. If he was right on the first one, why would he need a sequel? I mean, they keep moving the goalposts. And back in the day, you remember, it wasn't even climate change. It was called global warming. And then after there's a 20-year pause in the temperature, then they had to change the vernacular. These goalposts are moving all over the place. They have doctored websites. They've doctored NOAA's website, NASA's website. They've gone back and turned down the actual temperatures of the 30s. If you remember Steinbeck's book called Grapes of Wrath, talking about the Dust Bowls, which is an extension of the Depression. Well, in Wisconsin, the temperature got up to 110 degrees. They've changed all those numbers because it didn't fit the narrative. And we've got screenshots showing the previous ones and when they've changed it. So, yeah, the whole thing is a facade. And the longer we go with normal weather cycles, solar cycles probably have more impact than anything, but the longer that we go and realize that these are normal cycles that we're going through, yes, there is some impact, and we need to mitigate that, but the fact is, the longer we go, the less credible their argument, and then you do get brave people like this physicist coming forward. But it's not easy for the scientists because of the pressure from the corporate media and everybody else and the grantees, that the grantors, that they won't get money. If they speak out against the reservation, they won't get the money. That's
absolutely. Let me go back just for the last part of our segment here, Craig, and ask you about wind turbines again. The biggest thing that I find as interesting and a little bit sardonic is that the environmentalists aren't doing or saying anything against the wind turbines. They're not doing or saying anything about losing the aesthetic value of the land or the environment. They're not doing or saying anything about the danger to the birds, the eagles, etc. Where are they? Why are they in bed with these people?
Well, because there's only two. By their definition, and they're big in terms of Steyer and other guys in actually investing in these things early on and getting federal grants. It's not about the environment for these guys. It never, like you said, these things are ugly as sin. It's never been, and they're loud, and they don't produce very well, and you have to have traditional sources underneath them to make them work. But it's not about the environment. In fact, the irony of all ironies is that they don't consider hydropower renewable. I mean, they don't consider water renewable. I mean, and you think, but when these big metal monsters are somehow renewable, but water's not. I mean, they've defined the game up front. They got their big benefactors in early. They're the ones getting the energy subsidies, and so that's why they don't care about it. It's all about money.
Okay, all about money. Where are the senators and the congressmen? Where are the people that we elect to represent us, we the people? Why aren't they showing some backbone in Congress? Why aren't they asking questions? When this parity issue comes up, why aren't they standing up and saying, no, that's a lie. They are not parity with coal and gas. Where are these people?
Where are they on anything, Zeb? I mean, where are these guys? They can't even do a budget anymore. Everything's continuing resolutions. These guys have shirked their responsibility 20 years ago. And then you get, it's not even a partisan issue, because then you get Republicans out of Iowa. Oh, we can't go against the wind industry. It's too powerful in Iowa. I mean, that's what you get. I mean, that's what Congress is all about right now. It's bought off by special interests, and they can't even pass. I mean, how long did we rail against Obamacare? 7 years? And then they couldn't even do that?
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't do that with a Republican Senate or Republican House, when can you do it?
Amen.
That's the bottom line. That's special interest talking right there, and this, certainly there's many people on both sides of the chamber, House and Senate, that don't reflect conservative values.
Let me ask.
They're elected from conservative districts.
Let me ask you one last question, Craig, and you of anybody with all your knowledge and expertise on this subject would be able to tell us where we're at. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being really far left and negative, and 10 being positive for the future of energy in this country, where do you think we are now, and where will we be in perhaps another year with the Trump campaign?
Well, I think if you look at the scale, we were almost at 0, and we were under Obama. We were at 1 to use that scale. We were almost out of gas to make a pun, and I think we're back to a 5, because we have a president that was elected by promising to make energy dominant again in a reality in America. It meant opening up the pipelines. It meant putting good people back to work. It meant keeping oil and gas prices low, which has the impact on the economy. So, we are one President Trump away from going back to 0 again. I mean, that's the bottom line. If he didn't get elected and Hillary did, they would have been it. They would have gotten the Clean Power Plan and everything else through. But he's the only reason that we are where we are. He and his EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt, and we got to hold Congress accountable. And I know that you come from a state where we generally get good members, but that's not the case in other states where conservatives are. So we're maybe a 4 or 5 right now, Zeb, but it's all one president away from going back to 0.
Absolutely. I really enjoy having this gentleman on my program, President of the Energy and Environmental Institute, Craig Richardson. Thank you. God bless you, my friend. Come back soon.
Great. Thanks, Zeb. I really appreciate your time.
All right, sir. Thank you. Very knowledgeable and very straightforward individual, Craig Richardson, and an excellent article that he wrote, Stop the Madness, the Legal Shakedown of America's Energy Industry is Flagrant Abuse of the Courts. Absolutely. Oh, I tell you what, the left is just driving everybody nuts with their frivolous activities and their frivolous lawsuits. Hey, let's get up. Let's get a weather forecast. I apologize for the bad throat. Been fighting a cold or whatever for the last couple of weeks. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. CPAs that have been providing accounting services to the Minicash area for well over 50 years. It's tax time. And you'd better be ready to rock and roll. You've got less than 2 months from that dreaded April 15th. You better be ready. And they can and they will help you. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Tax return preparation, tax planning, payroll services, retirement planning. The list goes on and on. They've got offices in Burley and Rupert. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's the weather.
Welcome to Winter 2.0 as we are expecting some more snow showers in the forecast for today. Here is your weather forecast for Zev at the Ranch. We're looking at patchy blowing snow at least up until about noon. Cloudy skies and wind is going to be a factor out of the west-southwest, right around 15 miles an hour, gusts possible as high as 25 miles an hour. Total daytime accumulations for today is right around an inch. We are looking at a high of 35. Tonight looks like 20% chance of snow showers after midnight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 13. Tomorrow we will see some sunshine, high of 30, mostly cloudy for tomorrow night, low of 10. By Wednesday, mostly sunny skies with a high of 34. Wednesday night, looks like we do have a slight chance of precipitation in the form of snow. Mostly cloudy skies, low of 24, and then Thursday, 50% chance of snow showers with a high of 38. That is your weather forecast for Zev at the Ranch.
And thank you. Our weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And I'll tell you what, they are ready and willing to help you with all your taxes and possibly people starting a business or enhancing and expanding their business. Please give them a call or make an appointment to go in and see them. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Boy, Wheels, once again, I'm going to ask you, you're not hearing the hum that's coming down the line to me, are you?
I'm not, honestly. Like I said, you sound clear as day. So
that's what my wife said on the air also, but I'm just noticing that for some reason my headset here, I'm getting a hum, and it's starting to put me to sleep, either knock me out or put me to sleep. I don't know what the reason is. Anyway, thank you, Wheels. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call on the landline, and we would love to talk to you, so give us a jingle. We've got about 5 minutes left in this segment. Give me a call, and we'll discuss any of the topics that we've talked about. What do you think, honestly? Do you agree with me, or do you think they look nice? Do they look pretty? Are they an enhancement of property? Those ugly wind turbines. I have nothing good to say about them. I think on the way to Boise, when you look over to the west and you see literally hundreds and hundreds of those, they are nothing more than cancers on the landscape. I don't like them. I make no bones about it. I'd like to see each and every one of them down. And what are your thoughts about it? And there are more planned to be going up. These people, the wind people, are absolutely not going to go away. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree with me, or do you like them? Give me a call quickly. I'd like to hear your opinion. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's see what we've got here. We've got the Rupert United Methodist Church. Call me quickly. I've got time. The Rupert United Methodist Church is going to be presenting a talent show on this coming Saturday, March 3rd at 605 H Street in Rupert at 7 p.m. under the direction of Cliff, I believe it's pronounced Heeb. If I'm wrong on that, I apologize. It's going to be a fun night for everybody, and it's a first-time event. The community is encouraged to come and enjoy the evening free will donation, and it's going to be a lot of fun. For further information, you may call the church office at 208-436-3354. Okay. That's coming up on this Saturday. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What have we got coming up this next hour? We are going to have Dr. Miles Schneider, and he's going to be talking about how Idaho, our state of Idaho, is actually leading the way on health care over and above Obamacare, and we're going to have him on the program. And then at 10:30, we're going to have Anderson Trucking, Lon Hardy, and Sharon Hardy Mills will be on the program. And then at 10:46 this morning, we're looking forward to a visit with Cordell Sheridan. Their outstanding bull sale is coming up on this Saturday, so don't miss that. Let's see, what else have I got here this morning real quick before we send it back over to... I wanted to say that tomorrow on the program, very important person coming on, we're going to have Tudor Dixon, and she's going to be talking about that new innovative school education series that they've got on a network right now that's really sweeping the United States, and it's all good news for students. And then we also have at 9:30 the Idaho Legislative Update. Dr. History will be here, and then we're going to have a gentleman on the phone line by the name of Ben Crouch, and we're going to be talking about the newspaper business and how bad is it declining, or are there some bright spots on the horizon. So we're going to be talking to them all on tomorrow morning's program. Woo! That hum is about ready to drive me right out the side door, and I think what I'm going to do is try to figure out why the hum is getting so loud over here, and we'll send it back over to our main studios right now, and they're going to take us up to news from CBS Wheels. Would you please take it away? My goodness sakes, here we go. Even though we've had some difficulties over here, we're going to rock and roll into this next half hour. And Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. We're going to have our first guest on the phone this hour in just a moment. I want to remind you about our great friends over to Ark Animal Hospital, Dr. Bill and the entire crew over at 750 21st Street in Heyburn. The number to call, 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses, and they urge you to make sure that you get your puppy dogs all vaccinated for that parvovirus. And don't forget, they are a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them and take care of them all right there at Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street in Heyburn. The number to call, 678-1177. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and I should tell everybody, I am having some trouble hearing. We don't know if we burned something out here or not, but we're having a little difficulty trying to hear on the phone line with a real severe hum. It's not going on the air, I realize that, but it's in the feed line coming into me. And we're going to have Dr. Miles Schneider, and he is author of Restoring Health to Healthcare, a simple, uncomplicated plan. Good morning, Dr. Schneider. How are you?
Okay, good morning to you. Thanks for having me on.
It is my pleasure. And give us a little background of your book, first and foremost, Restoring Health to Healthcare, a simple, uncomplicated plan. How in the world can you say a simple, uncomplicated plan when the Republicans and the Democrats have it all messed up?
Well, yeah, I got to stay away from the political end, but it's pretty simple to me. We've had problems with health care costs since 1960. We've tried all kinds of things, and obviously, whether you like the Affordable Care Act or not, that hasn't turned out to work as well either for premiums, etc. The problem is that we're always looking at how we're going to cut down on co-pays, premiums, deductibles, the overall expenses, where I guess we spent $3.345 trillion last year as a nation. That's all significant, and that's all a problem, but they are the results of the problem. We never deal with the real cause of the problem. And the real cause of the problem is too many people getting sicker and sicker at young ages, or too many of us, period, are sick with serious conditions like heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes. I can go on and on, high blood pressure, cholesterol. That would be one thing if there's nothing we can do about it. But we know, research, reputable organizations have come out with studies that 70% of all these conditions and more that I just mentioned are preventable by early detection and just basically 3 lifestyle choice changes. According to every one of these studies, there's a common denominator of eating better, exercising regularly, and avoiding tobacco. Just those 3 things. So if you get to the doctor early enough and you start making lifestyle choice changes, we can cut down on 70% of our health of our diseases. 70% of $3.345 trillion is a heck of a lot of money, much more than I can compute. So we wouldn't have a healthcare crisis if we would start doing this. So that's what got the idea from, and that's what the book's about. It financially incentivizes people to live healthier.
You know, I wished it were, and I'm not trying to take arbitration with anything you said, I agree with you, but I wished it were as simple as trying to inform the people. But you realize today, even in today's society, where people want to claim that they're individuals and that they're their own man or their own woman, they don't take the responsibility of their own health. Would you agree with that or not?
That's absolutely. If you read my book, there's 10 steps I have in the book. The first step says you have to take responsibility for your own health. You're absolutely correct. And I think part of that, I think that some of it's just on human nature, maybe, but part of that, I'm not going to defend people. I can't blame people. First of all, the advertisements they're getting on TV these days, if you have a disease, just take a pill and that's the solution. Or if it's not the solution, well, go to the next pill. But also, I don't think people realize that it's not that complicated to be healthy. I think they think that you have to have some kind of, you have to be really highly intelligent with 8 to 12 years of training to become a healthcare professional to really take care of the body. Now, you need that to understand how it works once it breaks down, but to keep it healthy has to do with what you eat or don't eat for the most part, what you drink or don't drink, how much sleep you do or go get, exercise. It's all about lifestyle choices, mostly. I don't think people realize that. I don't really think they understand it. And so I think it would take part of my plan is there has to be a significant, and you already mentioned, education program on what it would take. Now, the problem is that's going to take years till it takes effect. So how do we start now? Well, money. Money talks. If under my plan, you have to have an exam to be able to get your health insurance the following year. I call it a wellness exam. The purpose is not to penalize you if you're sick, and you can't be kicked out. You can't have to pay higher fees. You can't get eliminated because of pre-existing. Just to find out how well you are or aren't based on lifestyle choices and eating and sleep, nutrition, exercise, aerobic ability. Let's say you have 20 pounds overweight, you have high blood pressure. Doctor says, listen, next year you come back for your exam, want you to lose the weight, get into some exercise, and we're going to get your blood. I want your blood pressure to be at such and such, with or without medicine. Ideally without, but you may need it. If you come back next year and you reach those goals, depending on where you were and where you went, you would be eligible to up to $5,000 tax deduction, or tax break, or tax credit, whatever they want to figure it out, and we'd still save money.
You know, Dr. Schneider, I have been very harsh on my program that I think many people that are on welfare programs need not be on welfare programs, many of which are healthy individuals, many of which, and I'm just going to lay the blame where I think it should fall, many are just absolutely lazy and bilking the system out of a lot of money. I think there should be a case-by-case study as to who's healthy, who really is in dire need of healthcare programs and or welfare, and we need to weed these people out, and that also would save a lot of money to our entire society.
I agree with that, and part of my book and in my plan, it talks about these people. I'm not saying anything about whether they're lazy or not in the book. I just said they are not eligible for this particular plan because they're already being subsidized, and my plan doesn't call. My plan's not the purpose of to subsidize more people to be dependent on the government. My plan is to incentivize people to get, first of all, healthy, but somebody who's on a welfare plan, they can't get the $5,000 deduction unless they get to work and get involved and have an employer-based system for their insurance. So I agree with you 100%, and it should be now based on done on a case-by-case. And I do have in there on people on Medicaid and government assistance programs, that they have to go through this exam as well, and the result of the exam would not be the financial, but if they do improve their health and they haven't been able to get on an employer-sponsored plan, they could get some gift certificates but they cannot spend it on wherever they want. It has to be spent on either healthy foods or a pair of sneakers to go to a gym or a water filter system, specific products that they can use if they show that they've improved their health, so they can improve it even more. I agree with you 100% on that, and that's why the issues we have with some of the states making changes on Medicaid and having people work. I think if they're healthy, there's no reason why they shouldn't. I'm looking at purely from a selfish standpoint. I think people are healthier physically and mentally if they're moving and they are involved emotionally with a purpose in their life.
We have a caller with a question, Dr. Snyder. Go ahead, caller, quickly. You're on the air.
We do need to monitor these things, but when you have states like California, Oregon, and Washington for free, let alone the East Coast, that don't want to cooperate, their welfare systems in that state, the people, their attitudes are to cater to this, to perpetuate it, to create voters for the Democrats. And, California used to be the richest state in the union per capita. Now it's the poorest. And they just continue to do, everything goes towards welfare, catering toward the illegals. When we have how many illegals on welfare, and it's $100 billion a year, $100 billion just to take care of the illegals, however it is, with their welfare, schooling, whatever. I'll hang up.
Respond to that caller, if you would, please, Dr. Schneider.
Well, that's an interesting call. I mean, I don't want to get into some of the politics of it, and thank God I'm not a politician, but I will address the issue. I know specifically what I find interesting about California last year. California last year tried to pass a bill for single-payer insurance, and they were going to cover everybody in the state, including the 3 million people who were uninsured, including those who were illegal immigrants. That was the plan. And it was of course, brought up by the Democrats in Sacramento, and it was moving along. And then what happened was that the Republicans were able to show that in order to supposedly it's going to save billions of dollars. And yet they had to raise $106 billion to do it, which I found was interesting. But once the public initially was 70% for it, and then when they found out that all their taxes were going to have to go up 2.5%, when the truth came out, then all of a sudden only 58% were against it, and it died, and supposedly they're going to try again this year, and Governor Brown wasn't going to sign it. I just found it interesting from 2 points. One, the people realized that you can't do something like that. It's going to bankrupt you. They were already bankrupt. Senator Sanders, when he was running for president, was trying to get the president nomination, wanted a single payer, and the Urban Institute, which is a progressive a think tank on social and economic policies, said it would bankrupt our nation. It would cost $32 trillion over 10 years. The other thing I found interesting about California is that that essentially would eliminate the Affordable Care Act. And then you have where you are in Idaho trying to pass the law to give a more sensible insurance to people, giving them more choices, which people are upset because it might undermine the Affordable Care Act. Well, both states, different sides, one very progressive, one more conservative, and yet in both cases, Affordable Care Act essentially would be eliminated.
Absolutely.
That was pretty interesting to me.
Absolutely. We have another caller with a question for you, Dr. Snyder. Go ahead, caller, please.
Thank you. Dr. Snyder, no matter how good and well you put this thing together, as far as I can hear, you overlook one thing and it'll cause it to fail if you don't address it. And that is basic education on the health care issues. If people look around and see the word organic, they say, well, that must be good for me. But that's a marketing ploy, and it's not good for you in all cases. And so if it doesn't address, if your program does not address education from the very, very beginning for every person in the state, and bring it up to nutritional values of real reality, then it's going to fail, because we're going to be plagued with this poor health, and that is an engineered system to
Yeah,
have our
great
health
point.
fail.
I agree with you 100%. Of course, there's a show I can't talk to everything about in the book, but in the book, if you looked at the book, it talks about we must have education about what's healthy and what's not considered healthy from grade school all the way up, and never every time they're in school there has to be a healthcare class all the way up, starting at elementary school level. Great point. I agree with you 100%. At the core of this is education. It's
and
just like when Ronald Reagan had that. President Reagan did that thing about drugs. We had a serious drug problem when he was in, and he started that just say no to drugs, which I guess First Lady came up with. But that actually had a significant change on our drug problem for a while, and his basic plan was a lot of education.
And I'm sure
starting
that
in
was
elementary school. So I agree with you 100%. It won't work without education.
And
Absolutely
I think
correct.
I think that you must put that in to if you're going to pass any kind of state law or health amendment law, it must include that so that a person gets credit for health classes and also health practices. If they can prove to a doctor or a consortium of health specialists that they are upgrading themselves, then I think it has a better chance.
Well, caller, I thank you.
That's why the plan is set up. They will prove it because there's going to be a physical exam year A. Next year they get the same exam. We're going to know whether they do what they say they're going to do.
If it deals with education and as a result of it, I believe it'll work there. Otherwise, I think it's doomed. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, caller, for your call. And I'd like to add a little caveat onto that, if I could, Dr. Snyder. I would like to see, and they'll give you all kinds of excuses, but I still would like to see a mandatory minimum 3 days a week at our schools, elementary, junior high, and high school, to where they have to take physical education classes like they did when I was in school, and I think that's going to help our entire society. But that's not being done, and I think that's also been a big negative in the health of our kids.
That's a great point. It's in there. I agree with you 100% on that. Absolutely. I'm 74. I mean, we had gym classes all the time. I think we had it pretty much every day. I don't understand why they eliminate. To me, I don't know. That is amazing because that's one of the 3 key things of being healthy is exercise. And kids love to play. They'd rather play than be in class. I don't know why they took it away.
Well, and it's not just the faction of playing. I think that school systems have become way too mamby-pamby with these kids. I can remember when I was in school that our physical education class, started with jumping jacks and push-ups and sit-ups and running so many laps around the gym, and then they go to whether it was basketball or whatever sport they were playing. But you have to make it so that it's a rigorous activity. Kids are not going to do it unless it's mandatory, and it's got to be imposed.
You're right. I think, if I recall, we had a thing. I grew up in New York, and I know at the end of the year you got some kind of a score on your fitness ability.
That's right.
I forgot about that. Now that you bring it up, you're right. And I remember doing that. I remember we would be scored by the end of the year, and if you didn't pass, you felt down. If you were really a good scorer, you thought you were pretty cool. But I agree with you, and that is very important.
Doctor...
and look, schools, at least take a look at the nutrition in schools, getting better. The schools could have such an impact, they would have to have an impact on this if this was going to work.
Well,
to change the food. So the food's much better, but some of the snack things they get in school are still not great. But it's better than it was. And you're right, because it starts at that level. So that generation, you can get to school so that the next generation doesn't go through what we're all going through.
Absolutely. Doctor, I've said for a long time that you're not going to make a nation healthier if you don't assume personal responsibility. And I don't know how we're going to do it, but we've got to get back on a keel to where leave the smartphones alone, turn the TV off, get up and exercise for 30, 45 minutes every day, 7 days a week. And I swear that we can cut back on our health care costs. That being said, I would also say that I'm not so much in favor of the government getting involved in providing health care in the first place.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that before. I understand how what you said. I just see it a little different in that regard, only because, it could be by state. That's fine. That certainly would be all right with me. The problem is if there's one thing in this country that all of us are affected by, no matter whether you're rich, poor, no matter what race you are, color, how wealthy you are or not, how old you are, it's disease. Every one of us at some point don't like the idea of being sick. So it affects every single person. And maybe I take it to the nth degree, but I remember, again, I remember President Reagan had said that the purpose of the government is not to run your life, but it's to protect its citizens. And I take this to the nth degree, and I think we're being attacked by disease. It's just these amounts of diseases are getting so high, and the numbers of people overweight, diabetics, heart disease at young ages. We're not doing a good job of taking care of ourselves. And I think it's a chance where, at least at the beginning, the government would lead the way to try to get people to do it. Now, big government is bureaucracy, paperwork, not getting anything done, and spending money. This is about different things. This is about saving money. Now, there may be some paperwork, but this is about trying to get people, getting people off of the idea that if you're sick and unhealthy and you can't work or whatever, we will support you and subsidize you. This is about changing that to, if you do something that's good for yourself, then we will incentivize you. And you can't get this economic reward unless you've done something to improve your health, which improves our country's health, which decreases our health care costs, which is good for the country.
Absolutely.
So that's my reasoning on that.
Absolutely. We have a caller with another question. I'm almost out of time. I've got 2 minutes left, caller. Go ahead.
Zeb, can I throw this out there? How about unimmunized immigration coming into this country, and also tourism, bringing something in, and let him answer that?
Very good. What about vaccination programs in this country, Dr. Schneider? Go ahead.
That's a great program. That's a great point. Of course, if someone comes in here from another country with a disease, obviously there should be some kind of, at least I'm sure there's a physical vetting if they're trying to become a citizen. There should be. As far as somebody coming in sick, sometimes you can't avoid it, though. I know when they had that terrible Ebola thing, there were quarantines. I don't know how you'd stop that from someone who decides, let's say, to take a vacation from a different country and come here, unless we know that something's really going on in that country and try to take precautions. That's a great point. As far as people coming here to immigrate here, I think I assume that's part of what we call vetting. It has to be, I would assume, a pretty rigorous physical exam. If not, I guess maybe I shouldn't assume. If not, it should be. That's a great point. It has to be addressed as well.
Well, Doctor, I think one thing I would say in addition to what the caller said, pardon me, is that our vaccination programs in this country in many cases are being scoffed at. And it's about high time that we realize that measles, whooping cough, polio, etc. were killed off, if you will, because of a great vaccination program. And nowadays, and I'm ashamed to say this, but a lot of young parents, they won't get their kids immunized thinking that those diseases will not ever come back, and they are wrong.
You're absolutely correct. They're wrong. That's another great point. Yeah, they are. You are wrong. That's part of prevention. My whole thing, I'm all about, my entire book, everything in there is about prevention, and that's part of prevention. And it's worked, and there's no reason not to keep doing it.
Absolutely. Dr. Miles Schneider, I want to say thank you very much for you being on the program here this morning. Excellent book called Restoring Health to Healthcare, A Simple, Uncomplicated Plan. Thank you for taking the time to come on our show this morning.
Thanks for having me on. Great show, great questions. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. We're going to send it back over to our main studios momentarily, but I also want to remind you about a segment that we have on Thursdays called Cassia County School Days, and it's sponsored by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and they just celebrated their great big 15th anniversary and birthday party, and they always have the very best of clothing. They've got a lot of the spring clothing in already. and the best of furniture, everything, games, toys, and puzzles. It's a family store. Stop in and see them today at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And also the other sponsor, Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. The number to call and find out how they can save money on your outpatient surgeries, 677-8888. 677-8888. Don't forget to give them a call today, whether it's life-saving colonoscopies or whether it's hand or knee surgery. They can and they will help you. Ambulatory Surgery Center, along with A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County on Thursdays at 10:10. Right now, let's send it back over to our main studios. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And welcome back to our last half hour. And without further ado, we're very fortunate to have Anderson Trucking and their safety program on the air with Lon Hardy and Sharon Hardy Mills. And lady and gentlemen, take it away, please.
Thank you, Zeb. It's great to be on the air. It's great to actually be here and not out there on the road somewhere.
Okay, I bet.
And this segment is brought to us by Anderson Farms and Trucking. They are located at 271 Highway 30 in Burley. That's out west of Burley. And a phone number that you can reach them if you are interested in a trucking job is 208-312-2553 or 208. So we've got a bunch of phone numbers. Yes. 312-8699 or 208-878-2820.
You know, there's a reason we have lots of options, Sharon. It's because we're looking for some great people out there in the community. You know, people just like you. If you happen to have any kind of over-the-road trucking experience and would like to have a nice, comfortable driving job here in the area, or you know, doggone it, we're looking for some good mechanics. Sharon, do you know any diesel mechanics?
I do not right this minute, but that doesn't mean there's not some out there.
I bet there are.
All right. Hey, we've got some safety issues that a lot of people are concerned about, especially right now with the snow and slush and mess out there and the wind blowing and everything. How does that affect your trucks?
Well, it's actually affecting us a great deal. The problem we have at this particular moment is distracted driving. And it is a national phenomenon. Actually, it's a national disaster that's occurring out there. People have a tendency to vacillate when it comes to their safety. Rather than being decisive on being safe, we're using our hands, our telephones, our texting devices, all those other things. We're just causing a lot of problems out there for us.
Well, and not only that, but with all these slide-offs and everything, we all rubberneck, you know, and want to see what vehicle's out there, and if you're vacillating on where you're supposed to be on the road, in the lane, passing, no passing, stay behind a truck, stay behind a car. I mean, it's a tough decision today.
Right. Let's talk about some specifics here, Sharon, if we can. You know, moms and dads and husbands and wives and everybody else, we really need to be more thoughtful of what we're doing with our telephones, those handsets that we have that we're constantly using, whether it's a text message or a social media or whatever it is. Please put those doggone phones down. The other problem is we want to change our CD or we want to change the media device or something like that we have in our automobile or our vehicle. Your kids are getting kind of rowdy in the back seat, and you want to reach around and whatever you do, make sure that that's not being an issue. Pets, even fatigue, and the last thing you talked about was the snow and ice on the roads. Gosh, we're having some problems. This distracted issue is, in fact, the largest contributor to fatalities in our nation at this particular moment.
Yeah, you know, I've seen posts, people are saying, we need to control guns, we need to control guns. You know, we need to control what we're doing in our vehicles, more so than anything else, because that's where more of our fatalities are coming from.
Absolutely true. You know, the leadership that we have in our country is sometimes suspect, but the fact is the leadership in our homes and keeping control of what's going inside of our automobiles is significantly more important than anything else. Stop the vacillation. We have got to stay on top of this.
Yeah, and we need to be expeditious in making sure that we accomplish this. Don't delay this. Don't wait. I mean, it's so vital. The choices you make don't affect just you.
That's so true.
They are affecting everybody around you.
Right. Our State Patrol has a little saying, and it is very effective, actually. It can wait, turn it off.
There you go.
It can wait, turn it off. So turn off your systems. You know, there's a lot of the technology today that actually has a message that you can input into your phone. So if you're going to get a text message from mom, dad, or the husband or wife or whatever it is, it very simply says, hey, I'm driving, I'll get back to you in just a few minutes. And it's really a valuable message. It's going to save lives. Please use that technical device that you have.
Yeah, and this is not just for our truck drivers. This is for all vehicles. All vehicles. This is so vital that we pay attention and focus on what we are doing.
Absolutely correct. We certainly need you to be doing this.
Yeah, and and I think we get casual or cavalier in our driving because it's so commonplace. We do it every day. You've been on that road before. You know, you go from point A to point B multiple times, and you just it becomes monotonous.
So true. You know, there's the conversation you and I had just a little while ago regarding a trip back that you made from Boise yesterday, the day before. It's interesting how we want to think that it's okay if the roads are just wet or whatever it is. You know, when you have a semi-system or a car that's slowing down because traffic has changed or patterns have changed, but if a semi slowed down to 45 miles an hour, those of you that are riding in your automobiles, please be thoughtful of that. There's a reason they're doing that. I'm asking you guys to also think about that same thing. If a truck driver's doing 45, think about that difference in speed limits, and maybe 55 is the top speed that you ought to be going. Remember, the speed limit is a suggested speed, and it truly is based upon conditions and situations. So if a semi is slowing down to 45, probably ought to think about doing something similar to that, and I think you'll be a lot more safe.
Exactly. You cannot be in that big of a hurry to get someplace and risk your life and other people's lives.
That's so true. Just asking you to be safe out there, please.
Yep, absolutely. So what other contributors do we have to safety on the road that we need to be aware of?
Well, the other things about distracted driving is, again, that darting in and out of traffic.
Vacillating back and forth.
Right.
Where should I be?
Right, exactly. Stick it out. Stay in one place. Don't be out and about there. Remember that the second largest contributing factors to accidents after distracted drivings is unnecessary lane changes. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that simply is, again, you get to not paying attention to what's going on out there. You drift across the lane. You drift back across the lane thinking everything is good to go. And oftentimes it's not, because so many things get lost in your peripheral vision. Trying to get to someplace expeditiously is not necessarily the best way to go. You've got to be thoughtful of your surroundings and what's actually happening.
Well, and the other thing, I noticed that coming back from Boise on the big warning signs that they have across the interstate, multiple times they had on there, take off the cruise, do not have cruise control on. And this is not just for the trucks, because some trucks do have cruise, but your vehicles, if the roads are the least bit wet, take it off a cruise.
Absolutely agree. It is one of the big deals. Again, you lose control so quickly, and you forget what you've got to do, whether it's tap on your brakes or hit your steering wheel to get that cruise control off. The bottom line is that's milliseconds or seconds. That time that you vacillate between what's going on and what's not going on is just crazy. You've got to make sure that you're on top of this.
Yeah, absolutely, because those are factors that could keep you on the road or not. And we need to make sure that we keep us safe. Let's see, there was one other thing that we needed to make sure we hit. I'm looking at all of our notes. We have so many of them
here. I know.
And I'm vacillating back and forth of which one we want to hit, making sure that we allow for that stopping distance, making sure your car, just, trucks do a safety check before they go out. Right. I wonder how many people do safety checks on their cars.
I wonder the same thing. Pre- and post-checks are so very important. But I'll tell you what, sis, let's go ahead. We'll close this up. This is our last show. Yep. And Zeb, I wanted to say thanks for this opportunity, for giving us a chance to be able to spend some time with you here on Zeb at the Ranch. So let's do a couple things. First of all, thanks to everybody in the Mini-Cassia area, in the greater Mini-Cassia area, for the support and the opportunities that we had to be amongst you. We're truly grateful for those of you that give me a call and say, hey, Lon, I got this problem. I saw this. Can you help us out? I absolutely am willing to do that for you. The next thing is as Sharon pointed out, we are in fact looking for some professionals. If you are a professional driver and would like to have another opportunity, if you are somebody who's in 20, 21, 22 years old that's looking at opening up a new career, we may have a place for you. We're looking for great mechanics, not just good mechanics. We need great mechanics, and we've got spots for you. Please come and see us. The last thing is Trent Anderson had an accident long ago. He's our boss. We love him. And he had an accident long ago. He fell and hit his head on the ice. So now I'm talking about home safety. Please make sure that at your homes you're taking the time to clean your sidewalks, to make sure that those walks are clear and free of ice and snow. We want to make sure that we do not have any kinds of issues like what happened to Trent here not long ago. He's doing really, really well, and we're grateful to him and his family for all the support that we've gotten from him, but also for him from the community. So we appreciate that a great deal.
So safety is kind of a far-reaching thing, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, you just wouldn't imagine.
Yeah, wow. Well, this segment's been brought to us by Anderson Farms and Trucking at 271 Highway 30 in Burley. A couple of phone numbers you can call to reach them on: 208-312-8699 or 208-878-2820. And if you are interested in learning how to drive, want to drive, know how to drive, here you go, folks.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, before you leave, both Lon and Sharon, I want to compliment you on a job well done. And Lon, thank you for being so helpful on this program. And I'm going to miss you folks on Mondays. You did a really good job, and thank you for all you did.
We'll look for us back in February when we do the Anderson Farm Safety Month once again.
All right, sir. Thank you. And Sharon, thank you very much.
Thank you, and thanks, Damon, for all you do to help us out here on the board.
All right.
You're welcome, guys.
Thank you. Right now, let's have our weather forecast, and then we've got another guest coming on in just a few moments, and that's Scarrows Meats at 331 North Road, Jerome, sponsoring our weather, and their telephone number 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Don't forget they've got all the delicious meats, all the prime ribs and the smoked hams and the bacons and the bratwurst. It's all delicious from Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Right now, here's our weather forecast.
Welcome to Winter 2.0 as we are expecting some more snow showers in the forecast for today. Here is your weather forecast for Zev at the Ranch. We're looking at patchy blowing snow at least up until about noon. Cloudy skies and wind is going to be a factor out of the west-southwest, right around 15 miles an hour, gusts possible as high as 25 miles an hour. Total daytime accumulations for today is right around an inch. We are looking at a high of 35. Tonight looks like 20% chance of snow showers after midnight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 13. Tomorrow we will see some sunshine, high of 30, mostly cloudy for tomorrow night, low of 10. By Wednesday, mostly sunny skies with a high of 34. Wednesday night, looks like we do have a slight chance of precipitation in the form of snow. Mostly cloudy skies, low of 24, and then Thursday, 50% chance of snow showers with a high of 38. That is your weather forecast for Zev at the Ranch.
And thank you very much, and brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. Delicious meats from Scarrows Meats. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Let's go to the phone line right now, and we have the man. I mean, he's been on our program before, and he and his lovely wife, they have now their 23rd annual bull sale that's going to be this coming Saturday, and that's going to be at the Burley Auction Yard at 1 p.m., and I'm talking to Cordell Sheridan. Cordell, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, Seb. How are you doing?
Well, not too bad. Now, every year your sale gets bigger and better, and tell us a little bit about from the first sale till now this coming Saturday, the 23rd. What dramatic changes have you seen over the many years?
Well, we've just gradually improved our cattle over the years. We started out predominantly just Gelbvieh cattle, and now we have the balancer cattle, which are registered as cross between Angus and Gelbvieh, which are real popular. You guys are liking those. And then we have the straight Angus cattle too now. So we've increased our numbers, and diversified a little bit.
What do you do different, Cordell, along with your wife and your family? What do you do different to make these bulls bigger, better, and more well-received by ranchers all across the West?
Well, one thing that we've found, we run our cattle in range conditions. They're out on the mountain 3 months out of the year, the calves with their mothers, and I get a lot of feedback from ranchers all over the West, Nevada and some places with rough country, that the yearling bulls that they buy from me hold up really well. When they put them out on their range, they travel really good and always come in decent shape, opposed to bulls that have been gotten too fat and raised on just flat land. So I think, that early development on those calves, they learn how to travel and know how to live in that environment.
Okay. Now, getting everything together for a sale like this, where you're going to be offering 80 bulls, 30 coming 2-year-olds, and 50 yearlings, that's not the easiest job in the world, is it?
Not really. Yeah, we've been pretty busy since, about middle of December, getting things ready and doing the advertising and all that, and getting the bulls fed up and in just the right condition. And you mentioned that we've got 30 head of coming 2-year-old bulls this year, and that's a little different. Usually we don't have quite that many, and those are real popular. They, have that extra year growth, so guys can be, a little more assured that they're going to go out there and get a lot of cows bred. Not that our yearling bulls won't, but just a little more assurance if they've got that extra year.
Let me ask you this, Cordell. When you say you got to get those cattle ready, started back in December, and everything organized for the sale, do you change at all your feeding program to kind of brush up these bulls a little bit, or do you leave everything on a consistent basis? Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, it's consistent. We raise our bulls on just a high roughage ration. We don't pour a lot of grain into them. People have found out that you can hurt their feet by giving them too much grain, and getting them too fat really hurts them. So we just grow them out, on the high roughage, kind of a low grain ration, and it seems to work really well. That's another reason why the bulls hold up as good as they do.
Okay. Now, you've got on your stat sheet for the sale that you have a first-year breeding season guarantee for injury and mortality on all bulls. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. Yeah, that's something that we've done for a long time, and it's usually always that first year that somebody has a bull that before he's educated to stay away from the older bulls when it's breeding time and stuff, that's when they get hurt. And so we have this insurance program where if if the bull gets injured, we replace them basically, or if they die, we replace them. We have kind of a list of what that program, how it works in our sale catalog. It's a little too in depth to go into here, but we do stand behind our cattle. Even if they have a problem later on, we like to help out.
Okay. Now, Cordell, you also offer free delivery up to 300 miles. So anybody that wants to come to this sale this Saturday at the Burley Auction Yard, and maybe they've got trouble, their trailer's in the shop for repairs or something, and they live up at Idaho Falls or up at Dubois or whatever, you'll deliver those bulls, correct?
Yeah, I like to do that. It gives me a chance to get out and see the ranches and visit with the people. It's too hectic sale day to really stand around and visit much, and so it's a good time for me to get out and see them. And we put the 300-mile limit on there, but we go further than that. If we sell further than that, and people would need us to, we can haul them. But it's been pretty good, and they get a discount though if they haul their own sale day. They get a $25 a head discount if they haul their own, so they do that if they want to bring their trailer.
Now, let me ask you this. What about the day of the sale right there at the Burley Auction Yard? Are all the bulls going to be there a little early so people can walk outside and take a good look at them?
Yeah, they will. We're actually taking the bulls to the sale yard on Wednesday. So probably Thursday on, if somebody's there for the sale on Thursday and wants to look at them, they'll be in the pens out back, so they're away from the sale. But Friday, we move them up closer to the sale barn, and then Saturday morning we pen them up there so they can just walk down the aisles, and the aisles be clean, and they can look at them in their little pens.
Okay. Now, the other thing I was going to ask you about is, and I know that Patty's been involved in this the last couple of years, and that's lunch provided at noon. How's that going to work this year?
Yeah, it's going to be there again. Yeah, Patty's making her famous potato salad. We usually have that, and then some, like sloppy joes, or I'm not sure what she's doing this year on the meat part, but usually it's really, really good.
Now, tell the audience and all those that are listening on my internet service all across the United States, what are some of the ways, in case they have questions or if they want to look at the cattle, catalog or whatever, how can they get a hold of you, or do you have a website? Give us that information.
Okay, we do have a website, and there's a downloadable, viewable catalog on the website. So, if they aren't on a mailing list and want to look at the cattle, they can go to that. And that website is SheridanCattle.com.
Okay.
Sheridan Cattle's all one word.
Okay.
Lowercase.
And what about a telephone number?
Contact information. They can call us. It's still not too late to get catalogs mailed to somebody if they would like to have, a hard copy in hand.
Okay. Now, this is the 23rd year, and it doesn't sound like you have any sounds of slowing down in the future. More good bull sales in the future, right?
Right, yeah. That's the plan. And my son, Zach, he's working with us here on the ranch now and been here for quite a while. He worked in Oregon for a while, but so the plan is he's going to keep things going when I'm too tired of doing it. So we'll be here.
All right. Well, Cordell Sheridan, I want to wish you and Patty a great sale this coming Saturday, March 3rd, at the Burley Auction Yard in Burley, and the sale's going to start at 1 p.m., and this is going to be a ripping good bull sale. Cordell Sheridan, thank you so much for being on our program this morning.
Well, thank you, Zeb. Appreciate it.
All right, sir. God bless. Have a great sale. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. There is a good guy, and he's been in my home, and we've talked about his bull sale, Cordell Sheridan. Their big sale, Cordell and Patty Sheridan, this Saturday at the Burley Auction Yard at 1 p.m. Don't forget our great big sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and of course they're right in the middle, if you will, of their founders celebration in honor of the founder of Les Schwab Tire Centers, Mr. Les Schwab. They've got super great low prices on the tires for your cars, your pickups, your SUVs, and don't forget the very best in brake service and front end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. Service reigns supreme at all 7 locations, where doing the right thing matters at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The very best serving you, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Well, we want to say we hope we can get some of our technical problems fixed before tomorrow here in this studio. And we want to wish you to tune back in tomorrow morning at 8:06 for more of Zeb at the Ranch. We'll be on the air for 3 hours till 11 right here on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m., and then streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com, where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06.